evening. My name is Chris Jones, and this is my Unit 7 presentation for HLS 6302, Homeland Security at Columbia Southern University under Dr. Thomas Zemek. On October 27, 2018, Robert Bowers entered the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with multiple firearms and opened fire upon members of the Tree of Life, Dor Hadash, and New Light Jewish congregations who were gathered in the synagogue to worship. At 9:55 hours, 911 was alerted to an active shooter inside the synagogue, and at 09:57, the initial EMS response included 1 district chief, 5 medic units, 2 EMT ambulances, 2 rescue trucks, a mass casualty unit, field physician, plus a level 1 Allegheny County mass casualty incident MCI response of 5 ambulances and 1 supervisor. At 9:59 hours, 2 police patrol units arrived on scene and engaged Bowers while he attempted to flee. Both officers were injured during this initial engagement. Bowers barricaded himself inside the synagogue, and at 11:25 hours, he surrendered and was taken into custody. This act of domestic terrorism left 11 dead and 7 wounded. Following this attack, a federal grand jury charged and indicted Bowers with 44 counts, including federal hate crimes for his heinous acts on October 27, 2018. While attacking members of the Tree of Life Synagogue, Bowers stated he desired to, quote, kill Jews, end quote. Attorney General Jeff Sessions was quoted as saying, "Hatred and violence on the basis of religion can have no place in our society. Every American has the right to attend their house of worship in safety. The defendant in this case allegedly murdered 11 innocent people during religious services and injured 4 law enforcement officers. These alleged crimes are incomprehensibly evil and utterly repugnant to the values of this nation. Therefore, this case is not only important to the victims and their loved ones, but to the city of Pittsburgh and the entire nation. I want to express my thanks and admiration for the courage and professionalism of those officers who so quickly responded to this event, especially to those that suffered wounds in the process. Our thanks is also extended to the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police, the FBI, and the ATF for their outstanding response to this violent and deadly attack. The Department of Justice, working with our state and local partners, will bring the full force of the law against anyone who would violate the civil rights of the American people, and we are resolutely determined to achieve justice in this case." Bowers was later sentenced to death following a unanimous jury decision for the death penalty and being found guilty on 63 counts in August of 2023. The death sentence of Robert Bowers serves as a strong example of the United States judicial system's effort of deterrence for future events by domestic terrorists. Further, the swift actions of law enforcement, emergency medical services, and tactical emergency medical services, or TEMS, involved on October 27, 2018, shows true bravery and serves as an excellent example of preparedness and structure. According to the Department of Homeland Security, there were 231 domestic terrorist attacks or plots between 2010 and 2021. A majority of these attacks occurred in major metropolitan areas. 35% of those attacks were racially motivated, and the second largest motivating factor of such domestic terrorism was anti-government or authority violent extremism. The FBI is responsible for leading domestic terrorism investigations, and in 2021, there were 9,049 open investigations. As domestic terrorism continues to increase, the FBI and DHS continue to collaborate efforts against such events. However, this collaboration should be revised and assessed for overall effectiveness due to the continued increase of events. To reiterate the unchanging and ever-increasing threat of domestic terrorism, the 2024 Homeland Threat Assessment by the DHS stated that in 2024, we expect the threat of violence from violent extremists radicalized in the United States will remain high, but largely unchanged from the threat as described in the May of 2023 National Threat Advisory System, NTAS, Bulletin. Although deterrence appears to be the primary judicial effort, the United States' response to events such as the Tree of Life Synagogue attack has also shown strong efforts in regard to training and preparedness. Such efforts by the federal government are promising learning tools and assets that may help mitigate future threats. The 2024 Homeland Threat Assessment by the Department of Homeland Security assesses the probability and dangers of terrorism in the future. This document identified that within the past year, domestic violent extremists, or DVEs, and homegrown violent extremists, or HVEs, carried out violent acts that were inspired by social political events. These DVEs and HVEs were largely influenced by foreign terrorist organizations, and as stated in this document, these DVEs and HVEs will continue to find such influences and be motivated by conspiracy theories, personalized grievances, racial, ethnic, religious, and anti-government ideologies. Such motivators are often identified online. In 2022, Sembel et al. Published their article, Religious Violence in Twitter, Networks of Knowledge, Empathy, and Fascination. Through dataset analysis, this article found that social media emphasis and public fascination surrounding religiously motivated attacks increased the online communication regarding such religiously motivated attacks and hate crimes. Through such increased fascination and communications online, one may speculate that the lack of self-regulation within social media poses an increased threat of radicalization and motivation of domestic terrorism. As identified by the FBI and DHS's Strategic Intelligence Assessment and Data on Domestic Terrorism is identified as acts dangerous to human life in violation of the United States criminal laws that are intended to intimidate or coerce civilian populations, influence the policy of government through intimidation and coercion, affect the conduct of government through mass destruction, assassination, or kidnapping, and occur primarily within the jurisdiction of the territorial United States. Regarding federal government level policy, the Interagency Security Committee document, Planning and Response to an Active Shooter, is a very valuable document that should be utilized as the United States continues to navigate threats such as the Tree of Life synagogue shooting and the many like it. This policy outlines best practices and guidelines for preparedness and training such as workplace violence prevention, pre-incident planning, Stop the Bleed campaign, which teaches the application of hemorrhage control, run, hide, fight, and post-incident recovery. This document will never stop an act of terrorism, but due to the volatility and increasing nature of such attacks, Americans may be better prepared to react to such tragic events in the future. Thank you.